All right, let's rock. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Chop Sports Daily right here, coming to you live from the Flipping Made Easy studio right here in Mattawa, New Jersey. Your host, of course, Sturch and Gooch. No Jimmy Palumbo. He'll be zooming in later on to do his podcast. He's attending to himself. It's a pamper day, really. I mean, he's just, he doesn't want to take the trip. That's fine. In any event, big weekend just comes and goes. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, obviously. Football comes and goes. But first and foremost, there's a couple things I need to, I don't want to say brush, like address. But today is a big day in so many different ways. First and foremost, last year, on this day, December the 20th, 2020, there was a kid. He was a 39-year-old guy. I was 38. 38-year-old guy. He's just hanging around. He's like, he's running this Facebook forum. We'll call it a forum because that's how Gio referred to us, as a forum. I might have even done that, referred to us as a forum.
You actually did.
I did. That's on
forum.
Me. That's on me. But he said, Gooch had shot me a message. He slid into my DMs. He didn't ask for anything vulgar or anything like that. I was just like, oh, it's Chris Gucci. I've known this kid for 11 years. What does he want? So he comes up and he says that he's been saving them Donnie dollars. You decided to buy a bunch of equipment and you created something called Chop Sports. And you said, feel free to drop your Jersey Boys podcast in Chop Sports to grow the audience. What did that do? That sparked the brain. The brain started moving, and lo and behold, Chop Sports, the business, was in motion. So on this day, one year ago.
Big day.
It is a big day. It is a big day. Also, remiss to listen, it's the holidays. I know a lot of people don't have, there's certain people out there, like they've passed on. I do want to give a couple shout outs. One, to my best friend, John. He passed away in 2007, right before I started my internship with the New York Giants. Yes, if you guys don't know who I am, I did intern for the New York Giants right out of broadcasting school. Sorry, sue me. Great internship. I wish I took it a little bit more serious. I was 21, so when you see Jeremy Shockey in a bar, you just want to drink with him. You don't want to, you don't want to be professional. But anyway, happy birthday to my friend John. He passed away a long time ago. Kid was literally my best friend. I hung out with him literally every day of the week. I mean, I wouldn't even see my own brother at certain times. Like, I would hang out with John more than anybody else. He passed away. I can't believe it. He would have been 35 today, and it's been 14 years since he's been gone, man. It feels like it was yesterday. Also, Gooch, you can relate to this one because there was a guy where you used to work, Big Shots, who you can always count on to be there. It is his birthday today.
Carmine.
No, not Carmine. Carmine is a legend as well. There was another legend that every time that I said to myself, I got nobody to go to Big Shots with, but I want to go get a drink, right? And there would be one guy at the corner of the bar wearing his Packers gear, and that's Big Al Angelo.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to Al, man. He up in heaven. He left us a couple years back, and like I said, he was one of the driving forces behind me and Gucci talking. Like, Al was the man. He was always at the end of the bar. He was just sipping on his Blue Moon, talking about the Packers and how great they were, talking about the Jets. I think he owned one Jets jersey, but I think in his heart of hearts, he was a Packers guy.
I think he owned the Jets jersey because he won it at Big Shots on a raffle. And he's like, I'm not going to not wear this jersey because it's a free shirt.
I believe it was a Chad Pennington jersey, if I'm not mistaken. So it's that long ago. But yeah, there was times I was just like, you know what? I want to go get a drink, but other friends were busy or whatever. And I was just like, well, who can I go? You know what? Al's there. And then I wound up dating his daughter for a little while. And then, obviously the rest is history. And, she's a great girl and everything like that. And even when we broke up,
I'm actually very excited the fact that Joe Angelo is the one that we get to pay out in the fantasy payouts
dominating
for the Chop Sports League because he won the most total points.
He did. So we got to pay him out a little bit of bread. So we'll do that. But yeah, the rest is history. It's so funny. Like, after we obviously broke up, he would come up to me like, she's crazy. Don't even worry about it. I was like, I know. It's such a good guy. So happy birthday to Big Al as well. But yes, a lot of stuff going on. Actually, Friday, it is holiday week. I'm very excited. I get to go back to the Liberty Tavern on Friday to meet up with my once a year crew. led by the Calhouns. You know the Calhouns, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, Nick, Jay, and Mr. Calhoun. Erin sometimes comes back from Vegas. She moved out to Vegas and became some big wig. I don't know. But anyway, so that's Friday. Typically, I try to get there for 12:30. So we'll do our show. We'll do our picks. I'll book it on over to the Liberty and channel my whiskey
basically
tango.
have a normal week. I know it's the holidays,
We do, but we actually have a
we're
big
gonna have
week.
a show every week.
We have a show every day this week, obviously, but then also tomorrow, Mike Tverdoff will be in studio with us after our show. So we're going to record something with Mike. And then on Wednesday, Coach Grasso will be in the house talking Union football, talking about the gig he just picked up and was selected for. So that's pretty cool. We'll talk to him.
Yeah, and for those that don't know who Tverdoff is, he's the defensive tackle, defensive end
For
that
Rutgers.
Declared for the NFL
And
draft.
he's
Rutgers,
leaving. He's leaving
foregoing
Rutgers.
his final season of eligibility. So he'll be out there to talk about, I guess, the draft and what's going to go, what his preparations are like and things like that. So excited to have Tverdoff come through.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be fun. But yeah, a lot of stuff to get to. A lot of stuff to get to.
Did you see Spider-Man yet?
I'm not a Marvel guy.
Wait,
I should be, right? I mean, the world is. I'm not a Spider-Man guy. I'm not even any of those guys.
I'm a football guy.
I'm a Justice League guy. Give me
UFC
Superman.
guy. I'm not a Marvel guy, but I'm definitely more of a Marvel guy than a Superman or a DC League guy or whatever you want to call it.
Justice League, bro. God,
yeah,
man,
I'm definitely more Marvel. I'm more X-Men than anything.
Yeah. Well, X-Men. Okay.
And I'm gonna watch them all.
You know what it is? I think I should have done it during quarantine, like the pandemic, when it was like really.
I'm not the type like you got to watch them in order,
Yeah,
but they're
well,
not in order.
We
They're
had
out
the
of order.
time.
But then if you get somebody to be like, no, this is the best order to watch them, because then you get it chronologically. And there's people that do that, but they all come out sporadically, and it's not in order the way they're released.
I know, and I wish I could have the time to sit down and watch all the Marvel movies. And I'm thinking to myself, 2020 would have been perfect. But no, I was watching Cocomelon and Moana every
and
third day.
honestly, full disclosure, I'm by default a Marvel guy because my nephews are lunatics.
They'll
about
kill
Marvel.
you if you're not, right?
And yeah, that's our thing. I'm taking them tonight to go see Spider-Man. Peter Parker.
So yeah, I heard wonderful glaring reviews about it. I think it's got like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, which no movies get. What's
actually
up?
Funny when I forced Ashley to go see Avengers final what is it, Endgame, and she cried.
Is that with the hand? What's this guy?
Thanos Brady.
Yeah, Thanos Brady.
All
there it is.
all the rings.
But that's yeah, I never got into those movies. I'm a sports movie guy. You know, I like all the good movies like Draft Day and like. I know you're such a big fan of it, and as you should be. I get it. I have it on Blu-ray if you want to borrow whatever. But you know what's funny? We had this massive show on Friday, which thank you guys for watching that show. It's our highest viewed show yet as far as live audience and downloads and watches and all that stuff. Thank you to Kyle Kerms. Obviously, you can visit kylekerms.com for his VIP ticket, in which I know you cashed in pretty well.
Yeah,
you did very well.
I did well yesterday.
Except for we'll talk about that first.
Yeah, we'll get into my Sunday. I didn't do very well.
Saturday, really.
Well, Saturday and Sunday. I didn't do very well overall because I put a little bit more on certain teams than others, which I broke my own rule.
Bet with your heart.
I essentially broke my parlay rule, even though I didn't parlay. I'm going to explain why later, but
okay,
yeah,
interesting.
I could be a lot happier right now considering the Packers are the 1 seed, and I'm like.
Well,
pour a little cold water on my night.
You know, we're going to go over the entire NFL slate, but we were supposed to get a shit ton more football games, but then things got crazy. It was Friday afternoon. I think you had already left, and I went out and got lunch. Yeah, we kind of walked out of the building.
Yeah, we made our picks for the games. The lines are all different. They moved games back to Monday and Tuesday, which obviously everyone knows about.
Tell me why. Tell me why this is okay. Tell me why it's okay. Because of, you know, when this whole thing came about, you know, they're like, you will forfeit games if you cannot put a competitive team on the field. That's what just happened.
And if you could go back to the episode where we talked about the COVID protocols that they were implementing, I probably said, and if I didn't say, I'm actually pissed off at myself because I said it to anybody that would listen, that the COVID protocols that they put in place were all bullshit. There's no way the NFL was ever going to consider canceling a football game. Do you want to know why? Because they've spent the last 15 years trying to add football games to the schedule. And if they don't play the game, they don't get the TV dollars. They don't get the gate. The gate is a fraction of what they're worried about, to be honest.
No,
but
it's the media, it's the TV.
But the home
deals.
games for the city, it does do a lot. The revenue that the surrounding bars and all that brings in, it's important for any team to get their home games. But essentially, the NFL as a whole and the owners as a whole, they're not just going to say no to a game. It's just not going. It's not going to happen. And case in point, today we have a football game because Saturday they couldn't field the team, and Sunday they couldn't field the team.
Garbage.
In 4 cases.
First of all, they've changed the protocols in which it was so weird. There was multiple different reports about what was about to happen. Like they were going to either heighten them because look, All of a sudden, you got games moved because there's a COVID outbreak and there's Omicron.
Yeah, with
and
all
blah,
the
blah, blah.
major news outlets reporting that it's back, COVID's fully back. It's in full
COVID's going to
force.
win NFL Comeback Player of the Year. By the way,
who was it? Who was
it?
it? That was great. That was a great. I saw that somewhere on the internet this week.
Me.
Oh, was it you?
Yeah.
Oh, solid.
Right?
Solid.
Not bad. Not
it's
bad.
all jumbled together.
Yeah, no, I know. I tweet too much.
Between
but
Ghetto Gronk and like white Adam Schefter,
right.
Stephen A. Smith. Oh no, they are white and black. I meant white Stephen A. Smith and black Adam Schefter. You follow those?
I do. Black Adam Schefter is really funny. White Stephen A. Anything Stephen A. related, I just don't even. Bother.
I know
he's not
trolling
him,
Stephen A.
so
Smith,
annoying.
but it's all right.
But in any event, the protocols were ditched completely. Now there's targeted testing, which means if you got the sniffles, we're going to test you for COVID. If you got nothing, which a lot of these people have, asymptomatic people, thanks to the wonderful vaccine that everybody's been pushing, right? So now if you have that and you have no symptoms, you'll never get tested. You never have to worry about this shit again. Meaning, if your team is 100% vaccinated, chances are you won't get tested anymore.
And now, as always, the NFL has egg on their face, but as always, the fans don't really care because they're getting what they want, which is football. And in reality, it was bullshit to start. This is kind of how it should be, I thought. From the gate.
This is how it should be across the board in the world.
Especially when you look at
but we're not gonna go
how things contradict. I'm not even talking about the CDC or whatever the fuck.
Well, that's what they're finally doing. They're listening to the CDC.
I'm talking about as far as what makes sense and what doesn't, because if this is true, then that must be true. The NFL finally got it right because the masks in the press conferences, but not having to wear a mask in your huddle while playing a football game, and then jumping into the stands when you score a touchdown with fans.
My dad flipped out. I think it was a Carson Wentz.
I
think it was a Carson Wentz thing where all of a sudden he's like, he's the only one on the sidelines. I'm like, he's like, what is he doing? I was like, I don't know.
Honestly, he's not doing anything other than what he's being told to do.
Right. He's making it look good. Everybody, the protocols are the protocols for a reason. But anyway, they've ditched them. They're making new adjustments. There will be no more postponed games. As soon as Dallas lost 2 defensive tackles going in, I was like, well, then they should probably postpone the game.
Yeah, and honestly,
it's like,
Ken Palmer makes a good point. There's teams that have been affected negatively already. There's teams that were affected negatively this week. There's Packers got a loss solely because
Packers
of Aaron
had a
Rodgers.
loss because of Aaron Rodgers.
There's
in that argument. And that argument's a little different because he was not vaccinated, blah, blah, blah. If he was vaccinated, he would be back on the field.
Of course. Fair point. I'm just saying, due to the COVID protocols, teams, my point being is that they didn't postpone any game because Aaron Rodgers wasn't playing.
No.
And it was a prime time.
Definitely should have postponed when we lost CeeDee Lamb and Randy Gregory and all these guys to COVID. And it's just like, whatever.
Hey, what are you going to do?
Yeah, again, it's over. It's over. So that's the protocols. We'll get into the games in a little bit. But first, we do want to touch on some baseball that happened. Big news on Saturday night. Buck Showalter hired as the new skipper for the New York Metropolitans. Now, between this, their signing of Max, their signing of Marte, like the Mets are doing work in the offseason. And I know that there's people out there, specifically Yankee fans, and I'm a Yankee fan, you're a Yankee fan, we love our Yankees, but there's a lot of people that are just like bashing everything that the Mets do, like, oh, congratulations for winning the winter. Like, yeah. They're winning the winter, meaning, they're going to put a product that you're going to be excited about in the spring. What have the Yankees done? They got rid of Frazier.
Well, I'll say
move.
that because it's agreeable and it's a nice trolling tactic.
What else do we have?
I'm not sitting here and saying that we're going to stoop to the level of actually like rooting for the offseason like the Mets do, because I'm doing it now. You get it?
Yeah, but
I'm making fun of it now.
And but I'm just saying, I remember when we signed Garrett Cole.
No, you're supposed to be excited
for
your transactions. The Mets fan base shouldn't care what Yankee fans say. This is all we have to cling to right now. So, God damn it, I'm going to cling to it. Just leave me alone about it. And it's the truth. By August, the Mets will have a shot. By September, they're going to be Red Sox fans pulling for the Red Sox to beat the Yankees. That's always how it goes. And honestly, though, I really don't think that way. I think the Mets do have a good roster. I think they finally have the guy. Buck Showalter doesn't take shit from anybody. He doesn't even take shit from the front offices he works for. And part of me feels like, even though he worked for the YES Network, and I think that the Mets got to get the guy that I wanted the Yankees to get, everybody
100%.
Heard me talking about Buck Showalter or AJ Hinch all season really with the whole Boone news. I think that Buck Showalter is still like the scorned ex-girlfriend, where if he had the chance to take the Mets job or the Yankees job, he would have chose the Mets because he didn't like how they handled the whole situation back in the day with him and Joe Torre.
Technically, I compare this to when Jimmy Johnson left the Cowboys and all of a sudden Barry Switzer won a Super Bowl a year later. people are like, yeah, that's great, but that's Jimmy's team. Do you feel like that was Showalter's team in '96?
Yes.
That's all his boys.
Well, I wouldn't say
What
it
did
was
they do
his
in '96?
team. I think that Joe Torre was, he played a role, but I don't think that they're a worse team with Buck Showalter throughout.
No,
that
but I'm
run.
saying like that was like he's like, dude, I was right there.
Yeah,
and and it's funny I brought up John today because I remember watching the '94. What was that? The wild card game? Or
was it
when Griffey
Mattingly's
scored
last shot at it?
When Griffey scored the winning run, I was at John's house. He was a big Seattle Mariners guy. He loved Ken Griffey Jr. and A-Rod. A-Rod was just a baby.
I think '94 was the strike shortened season, and then '95 was the year that the Mariners knocked out.
Maybe '95. Yeah, they knocked us out. That was interesting to say the least. But yeah, Buck Showalter, what he brings to this team, I'm curious to know if like analytics go away. Because the Major League Baseball as a whole is very, very analytically driven at this point. Does this change with an old school manager like a Buck Showalter? Out of the game for a year, right? At least, what, it was a year or just 2 years? Just 1 year he's been out?
I think it's been 2 or 3, honestly.
Really?
It's been a while. Baltimore's been
shit.
They were shit in his last year, so maybe it's been 2, but definitely 2 years. I think it's been 2 years.
Yeah. All right. Well, in any event, Buck Showalter back in baseball with the New York Mets. Excited for that. Now, Saturday night, obviously, we were treated to one football game because they took one away from us. We got to watch that game. We'll talk about in a second. But first, the thing that happened at the end of the night, in which I was in and out of consciousness because of how late this shit starts. And maybe that's just me being 36 years old, get off my lawn guy. But like for the reasons beyond my comprehension why these things don't go off until 12 o'clock. Like it's just you gotta drink coffee before these events happen. But we're talking about the fact that Jake Paul beat the brakes off of Woodley in one big punch. Now I bring the question to you, bro. This again looks fishy, bro. I'm sorry. Why would you drop your hands and then kind of lean away from a punch? You're almost like bracing for impact.
Bless COVID. You. Now, I do believe that. Do you sneeze with COVID, or is it just?
I don't even know. It might. I literally had a tickle in my nose.
When you brace for impact, you kind of lean away. That's kind of how you play defense. But he wasn't really playing defense there because
hands were down.
Has dropped his hand. But I mean, it's just a mental lapse. I'm not going to sit here and say that somebody's going to willingly get knocked out cold like that because honestly, there's no guarantee that the punch is going to work. You got to land the punch and it's got to be effective. Tyron Woodley isn't a award-winning actor.
I mean, he really took a dive.
He got knocked.
Not taking a dive in that sense. I'm
saying literally. You read the headline.
The
Jake
floor.
Paul flatlined Tyron Woodley.
Do you know what he said as soon as he woke up?
God damn it! I wish I put my right hand up.
Or not even that. He was like, no. Like he had no idea. He was just starched by Jake Paul.
I don't think it was. Maybe it was. I don't know, man. Fixed. It's hard. It's hard for me to sit here and say that this fight was fixed. But you just never know with this situation.
With this stuff, dude. There's
so
much money involved.
I don't think so. He hit him with a hard shot. There was nothing really fixed about that.
Clocked him.
I just don't know. I don't know.
It's interesting, but now Jake Paul has knocked out every single opponent he's had, and he still has yet to fight a boxer. So his call outs at the end, Nate Diaz, Jorge Masvidal, like those guys are also not boxers per se, but like, I would think that Nate would scrap. You knock the Christ out of this guy.
Yeah, of course.
I think
and
Nate
so would
in
Masvidal.
The ring would beat.
And honestly, Masvidal and Nate were both at the fight, and I wonder how much money they were paid just to sit there.
Did you see what Nate Diaz did walking out of the stadium, out of the arena?
No,
bro. Somebody had like a tray of drinks, and they were walking, and then Nate Diaz was coming towards them. And like he must have said something to Nate Diaz, like barking at him. Nate Diaz did the whole 2 for flinch thing. Guy throws his entire probably $18 beers all over the place. Nate Diaz was like, what? Dude, you got to see it. It's hilarious. It was so funny. But that's a fight I would love to see. But we're never going to get at it. We're never going to get, I also said we would never get Mayweather and McGregor, but we did eventually, like 10 years too late. But I feel like we're never going to get a actual guy, a killer that can kill Jake Paul. Jake Paul continues to bark at the end of it, saying he's the best. He's knocked out everybody, blah, blah, blah. Again, give me some kind of real fight, man. This is not real to me. It's almost as bad as pro wrestling.
If you're looking for Jake Paul to take a bigger risk, just keep looking because it's not going to happen. Why would somebody, he's doing good business right now. He's making a lot of people rich, right? I, for one, don't mind seeing Jake Paul win unless he runs into an opponent, I knew he was going to knock out Woodley in this fight. Unless he runs into an opponent that I actually cheer for, like a Nate Diaz, then I'm going to be on Team Jake Paul just because I want the sideshow to continue. I know that might be unpopular opinion, especially here.
People are watching.
And
I didn't pay for it.
I'm watching. I'm not paying for it, but
my brother
I'm watching.
didn't pay for it. I texted him as soon as it happened.
And it's fun. It just gives us something to talk about for us specifically. It's
I guess
we get 15, 20 minutes of content every couple weeks because Jake Paul is making a ton of money. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, we can talk more about Jake Paul on the Chop Heads Combat or whatever we're calling it. We're going to rebrand that, but you and Tommy D can dissect that entire card along with UFC, which just went down as well. Big boy picks up another win, another knockout. You can discuss that further. But there's one. This is what happened. Here are the risks that come. Obviously, you get into this fight game, and the undercard was underwhelming, I guess, but like there was some
entertainment
notoriety.
Value. Yeah, there was some entertainment value.
Frank Gore, the legend that is, the 6th or 5th all-time leading rusher, maybe even 3rd, I don't even know. But he goes out there and fights Deron Williams from the Nets, like the New Jersey Nets. That's how long we're going back. Which again, they've only been Brooklyn for like 5 years. But Deron Williams fights Frank Gore, and from what I saw, because I didn't see the fight itself in its entirety, like there was like a shove down. There was
it was a very sloppy exhibition.
But come with the risk of, you said it before in pre. You shout out to the guys that take the walk.
Yeah. You're putting a lot on the line, and
right.
And you said it. This is what started it. You were like, oh, all his legacy and his dignity is gone with one meme. And it's like, to me, at least from the perspective of understanding, not that I've ever made the walk but anybody that competes, especially in a one-on-one situation, there's a lot going on. There's a lot on the line there as far as pride. These guys didn't talk a whole lot leading up to the fight because I think there was some respect there, and they both understood, like, look, it's a payday. We're going out there to test each other, test ourselves. But there's no shame in what Frank Gore did. Frank Gore put on a good showing from what I saw. He lost a split decision. But you could pull it up.
Except for this, ladies and gentlemen. This is
he got memed up.
He got memed,
oh, shit,
bro.
I'm in a real fight.
This is real. This is real shots. I mean, look, anytime you're about to get punched in the face, I would probably have that reaction too. Like, oh, here it comes.
Yeah, but when you make that walk, you put a lot on the line. Anybody that's ever competed in anything, you can make a joke, and like, I'll do it for comedy. I'll share the meme. I'm not above that.
Yeah.
Frank Gore, if I see a funny one, it's getting shared. But that said, I have all the respect in the world for Frank Gore, and his legacy is fully intact in my eyes.
Football-wise, yes.
Just in general.
Now, there are comments coming in. I'm sure you've heard about this, but there's Lev Bell challenged Jake Paul. Again, I don't think that Lev Bell has a pot to piss in right now when it comes to being relevant.
Seeing the comment, I'll drop you faster than the Ravens did. That's what Jake Paul said to Le'Veon Bell.
Oh, that's great. That's great. But again, am I going to get a rooting interest behind Lev Bell to go knock out Jake Paul? That's not happening.
So like Le'Veon Bell, like you just knocked out Tyron Woodley. He's a former welterweight UFC champ. Within like a 5-year period, he was literally holding the belt. And now Le'Veon Bell, who can't make an NFL roster, is going to go beat up on Jake Paul.
It is what it is. But listen, to the meat and potatoes, to the stuff that we care about more than anything else other than Frank Gore. Speaking of Frank Gore, we can transition over to the gridiron because we did have a game on Saturday to talk about, in which the New England Patriots went into Indy and lost the football game. And this game was a runaway from the jump, I think, between block punts and all this other crap that the Colts were pulling off. Here's where I ask you, because I know this is one of your bets, right? We all sat here, me, you, and Kyle, on Friday, and everybody was leaning Colts, right? And we're like, this is the game for them to win. The spread was like 2 or something like that. It was low, get them now. Let's do it. So I did that. And you did that. The Sauce did not do that. He faded himself, and he bet the Patriots.
Well, I don't think that he faded himself because we know about Fridays or lean Fridays. I think he was just leaning towards the Colts. But here's what Kyle does when he bets. And this is not, I'm not speaking for Kyle, but I've had dozens of conversations with him about his approach. And basically, he's betting the day. He's not betting the game. He's betting the weekend in football. And obviously, in his business, he needs to hit his bets. So, and honestly, Kyle's hitting his fucking bets because I won a ton of money off him Sunday. So that said, he's just looking for things that he could see when he broke down the game. If you watch the video, he went, they're pretty much an evenly matched team through and through. And he finally got the red zone defense, and he saw that the Colts were really bad and the Patriots are really good. And he just looks for advantages and he takes them when he finds them. And it doesn't matter what he thinks about the game. And that's actually a credit to the way Kyle approaches it, because he plays the math. And when you're betting as much as he is, you have to treat it like it's a big math equation and play the long game. And honestly, one loss on Saturday night didn't hurt Kyle on Sunday.
Now, with this, speaking of this game in particular, like this was probably Mac Jones's worst game as the starting quarterback as far as effectiveness. He couldn't get anything done. And then you're looking at a guy like Jonathan Taylor touchdown who took another game over. And yes, I've named him JTT. That's my thing. I should copyright that shit. But I think this guy, if not for a quarterback driven league, Jonathan Taylor can win MVP in this league. Yeah. Plus coming in, the Colts are a good team. Wentz is the weak link. That's crazy. Isn't that nuts?
And honestly, you could say that Wentz is the weak link, but he's got them playing well.
Kyle said I can't come home because he's bad. That's hilarious. Dina joining us from the airport right now. And here's Chris Payne, Officer Chris Payne. Thank you for doing all you do. You're an NYCD co-op, and we appreciate you tuning in as well, the Jets fan that you are. We'll talk about all the glory that the Jets brought to us on Sunday as well. But finish and putting a bow on this one. The Colts, to me, were a team that we kind of rode high on since the jump, right? We're all over the Colts.
Well,
we were saying that based off of when? Like August. Like, oh, no, saying they're going to be a 10-win team.
No, I was talking shit that they won't.
Oh, I was on them.
No. We were bashing Kyle for calling them a 10-win team. All of us. And honestly, they still might not get to 10 wins.
And all you got to do is win 2 out of 3.
Oh, that's it. I mean, it's the NFL. Yes, I understand that they're probably going to win 10 games, but I believe it was over 10. So I'm going to have to check Kyle's his bet slip. We'll call it.
Okay. But anyway, in any event, the Colts are now 8-6. They find themselves in the mix of an AFC playoff picture, obviously. And me and Gucci have decided that instead of going crazy with the standings and the seedings and all of that, we're going to release a special probably midweek this week about the NFC and AFC playoff picture. So tune into YouTube for that one. It won't be live. It'll be produced and all that good stuff. So look for that later on this week. But the Patriots now, looking at them now with a loss. And we'll talk about the Bills in a little bit. They're meeting again next week. That is the season for the AFC East title, right? Is that easy to say? With 3 weeks to go, the winner of that game will more than likely win the AFC East, right?
Yeah, most likely.
Most likely. We've seen crazier things. I'm sure they all get to play the Jets again one more time or something to that effect. They're going to have some games on their schedule, but next week is a big one. The Bills play the Patriots. We'll get into that, obviously, as the week goes on and as we touch on the Bills from this week. So checking the comments right now, Pats are pretenders, according to Chris Payne. Carl is saying, hey, Jimmy. So obviously Jimmy is in the house as well. Oh, that's right. Jimmy was commenting to himself before we went live. He was talking to himself because that's what Jimmy does. And maybe he needs a friend.
I don't know if the Pats are pretenders because the AFC they're kind of all pretenders. Maybe they'll be contenders if you listen to Joe Matarice's podcast.
Wow.
But yeah, no.
If he still is calling it that.
There is no such thing as a pretender in this game. Both these teams are legit, and they're going to make some noise in the playoffs. Obviously, I think they're going to match up at some point down the line, hopefully for our sake. And yeah, you are right that the game Sunday, or is it Sunday or Monday? They
played Monday already with the weather.
That's a huge game. Obviously, the winner of that game should win the division, but we'll see.
All right, we'll see. Moving on to, I'm hard pressed to show or to say that the Packers won this game, Gooch. I'm sorry. The Packers won the game, but Jim Harbaugh once again hands a game over. You would think all the analytics in the world, and before you go on your rants of how good everybody played, and I'm sure they played good. I watched the second half on, and then I caught up in the first. But Jim Harbaugh, the analytics show you what? Like, go for 2? Okay, your analytics should say, we've done this before and we've failed. We should probably put the best kicker in NFL history in the game to kick the tying field goal and give Aaron Rodgers the ball back with 20 seconds, right?
38.
Whatever. So that means Rodgers is going to bink to Adams because nobody can cover the guy, and all of a sudden the Packers win anyway. Your thoughts as an outsider, Gooch? Obviously, yes, you're celebrating 11-3 and it's still the 1 seed in the NFC. But, like, overall, dude, like, you can't be too happy with the fact that Huntley came back on you guys and proved to me and to a lot of people that he might be a better passer than Lamar Jackson, straight up.
Look, obviously, I'm not happy about giving up that 14-point lead late in the game. All that said, Tyler Huntley played his ass off. So sometimes you have to just tip your hat to people. Like Tyler Huntley, we couldn't contain him yesterday whatsoever. I know part of it was like the defensive scheme that we were running, and they just kept on shooting the inside instead of containing on the outside. Rashawn Gary, Preston Smith, I'm looking at you boys, and Joe Barry, I'm looking at you, our defensive coordinator. But look, sometimes, man, you don't factor in how good a backup quarterback is going to play, and this kid played great. So yeah, I'm disappointed, of course, but I think there might have been a little bit of I don't want to say overlooking him, but maybe we took him a little lightly, and this kid came out and played. I've seen him now 3 times, and all 3 games he's shown me something. He went 27 for 38 with 276 yards in the second half last week against Cleveland. That's a good defense that he did that against. So Tyler Huntley could play. We couldn't get our hands on him. We got to the quarterback a ton and couldn't grab him. It was absolutely infuriating. And I will say this, Tyler Huntley turned out to be everything that the Bears hoped Justin Fields would be when they drafted him. And now that's obviously a dig. Justin Fields is a young quarterback. I give them way more time than even you do. You know, I think Justin Fields you're like Zach Wilson's done. Trevor Lawrence is done. They're like 16. So I'll give him more time, right? Justin Fields, though, if you look at what he does well, that's not going to go away. He's going to be able to run the ball. He's going to be able to break the pocket, extend the play. But what he's not going to be able to do well is throw that 15-yard out. And I was trying to read up on Justin Fields, and I'm not going to talk too much about it. But
we'll talk about it later with the Bears. But
yeah, his accuracy in college was like they were talking about he's the most accurate quarterback ever.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
Apparently not. But yeah,
it's a bigger ball.
I'm okay with having our scare game. You know how you have these like good losses at the end of the season when you're like almost like what the Bucs had last night, unfortunately, where you lose a game and you're like, all right, now we got that out of the way. We got a wake up call now. Things are real. This was what happened with the Packers. They had their wake up call, but they were still able to win. So I am happy. I'm disappointed in not covering the spread, but what are you going to do?
That's why you don't bet on your team, Gooch, because it would suck the life out of
Dave,
the win.
You're right. They're 11-3 against the spread. I've won a lot of money on the Packers this year. I'm okay with this loss. I'm just not okay with the fact that the Bucs also lost because I've been riding 2 trends for a really long time.
That's a trend to ride. I mean, if you're going to ride any trends, that's the one.
And then Tom Brady at home. That's 2 trends that I've been riding all year and winning money on. It just so happens that they both fell flat one day, and it kind of it definitely took the shine off of what would have been a great day for me.
So the Packers are 11-3. They remain the top seed in the NFC. Like I said, we'll dive into the NFC playoff picture in midweek as we get going. But there's somebody else, ladies and gentlemen, who have jumped 2 spots in the NFC. Who would have thought that on this day, right? On this day when we're talking about 1 year later for doing conversations and Chop Sports is doing what it's doing, that on this day, the Cowboys and the Packers would be 1-2 in the NFC. Not me, not this guy. Look at us now. Look at us. The Cowboys get themselves their 10th win of the season. They also are now 11-3 against the spread, so they're just as good as the Packers, according in that regard.
Yeah, you should be betting them every week.
I'm not betting them anybody. If anything, I'll go the other way and just try to win money based off of a heartbreak.
No, you will not.
No, I will not do that. But anyway, JoJo coming in saying, "Dem boys, absolutely, JoJo." Listen. I was at this game. I got there at 9:30 in the morning, tailgated.
I can see it all over your face right now.
Yes, I do have a little bit of my MetLife wind burn on my face. This is not a flush. This is not a fever. I don't need cowbell. This is literally me getting the wind blown into my face in the 300 section. And I prefer that section. I do. I prefer to see everything develop and see who gets open and what routes they're running, yada, yada. When you're too low, you can't see that kind of shit. And look, again, for the celebrity standpoint of it, like if you're low and you're close to your favorite player, cool, right? Oh man, look, there he is. He's warming up. Me and my brother had great seats last year, but it was low on the field, right? We're 10 feet from Zeke and we're like, this is great. But then like, if you really want to break down game film, you got to go from up top. So that's where I was. I am officially retiring. I'll announce this right now, not from Chop Sports, but I'm retiring from December football in New York. I don't think it's necessary anymore. That was not enjoyable for me, being frozen and thawing out last night at like 10 o'clock at night, finally be able to feel my limbs. I couldn't text. I was sending my brother the voice to text because like the voice messages because I couldn't feel my fingers. It was disturbing. But anyway, to the game itself, the Dallas Cowboys offense, in which they were kind of puttering for the last couple of weeks, people were kind of worrying about that a little bit. They scored 2 touchdowns, both on short fields, right? It's because of turnovers caused by this defense, man. You got to give it up for this defense. Like this defense is playing well.
I'm definitely gonna. They're playing really good. You said they're the best defense in the league. I definitely don't agree with that.
Just give me one more better defense, playing better turnover wise. Go ahead.
When you say, but like
they're causing turnovers, they're busting off 4 a game.
This is my point. Where it's like, so are they the best they take the ball away. So they have that. That's the best thing that they do.
What makes a good
They're
defense?
better. I mean, points and yards. If you really want to look at the analytics, like there's
Jake
teams
from State Farm went 80 yards and almost scored at the end of the game, but it's all garbage yards.
then points, yards, the combination,
6.
total defense. I don't think the Cowboys are ranked number 1.
They're not.
Right. So they're a very, very good defense, and they could change the game in a fucking snap of a finger. But I'm not going to call them the best defense in the league because I do think that they have issues. I don't know that there's the best defense in the league right now. If you really look at it, if I had to pick who I think is the best defense in the league right now, the Chiefs. And I'm not saying that like who's playing the best right now. It's Kansas City.
Okay.
That's
O+ coming in. Are you really impressed with 21 points to get a shit team and turn the ball over? Look, 21 points in the NFL is fine with me. I would rather score 30. It would have made me feel a little better. Yeah, the offense is puttering, bro. Dak Prescott not playing his best ball.
It's nice to be able to win games where your offense isn't carrying you.
Right.
And
I mean,
it's better to have.
This.
It's truly better to have the defense carrying you into the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
And now, obviously, you need both things to click to win the Super Bowl. So Dallas definitely has some time to figure it out.
Oh, look, fair weather fan Jimmy coming in. Dak, Micah, Zeke did nothing yesterday. Okay, Zeke scored a touchdown. Micah forced a fumble and had a sack, and Dak threw a touchdown. So that's why I bring this up, and it's like you are the biggest fair weather fan I've ever. You look at the box score and see what? Shut up. Just shut up. It's annoying at this point. You're annoying at this point. All right, you can tune us out if you want.
They did nothing, and
Tune
that
us
struck
nothing.
a nerve.
Get the fuck out of here.
21-6.
Nothing.
I'm not
The
entirely
Giants
impressed.
stink. That's the problem. Did you get your medium soda, Giants fans, by any chance with their fan appreciation day?
I think Jeremy's second or third comment of the entire day was the Giants stink. So he knows that.
Good.
He definitely knows that. So 21-6. And honestly, I'm not entirely impressed with Dallas's win, but they did go on the road and they covered a 10.5 points.
Division win too.
A division win. A win is a win.
I said that to you on Friday. I said, how many times do you see the home team in a division game dogs by 10 points? You know what I mean? Like that doesn't happen a lot.
Not often.
And the Cowboys took care of business.
And the Cowboys did help me out because they covered and they held the Giants to under the team total 16.5. So good money.
And the Cowboys are now the second seed. And believe it or not, the Cowboys can win out and drop a seed.
Yeah, because they have to play Arizona. And
right.
If Arizona loses, the only reason why Dallas is the 2 seed over Tampa right now,
three
even though, and we'll get further into this on our playoff breakdown, but it's because I'm just going to tell people now, Dallas is a 2 seed now because it's a 3-way tie, but Dallas plays Arizona. So one of those two teams has to break the tie. If Tampa Bay wins out, they will effectively be the 2 seed. And honestly, and I hope for your sake and a potential NFC championship matchup between us sake, because if you're the 2 seed or the 3 seed, then we won't be able to meet in the second round, which is good for you. Trust me.
Oh, okay. Good for me. But anyway, the Cowboys.
Never mind. Actually, I don't even care because we'll talk about this on the playoff breakdown.
Sure will. So there's the Cowboys and there's the Packers and obviously the Saturday game. When we come back, we're going to do the rest of the NFL slate. There's a lot of moving parts within these playoffs and a lot of shocking turn of events with a lot of teams that people were calling frauds. So I'm talking to you, Kyle. So right after this break, we'll come back with the rest of the NFL slate. You know, myself and Gooch are both getting a little older. One of the first things to go is your vision. Thank goodness for our hookup over at Absolute Eyewear in Woodbridge, New Jersey, right on Main Street next to the train station. They have glasses for all ages, all budgets. They have safety glasses, sports glasses. They are a full-service powerhouse offering eye exams and even free lenses for the kids. They work with BCBS, AAA, AARP, giving massive discounts. They're open 5 days a week, closed on Wednesdays and Sundays. Call 732-326-3937 to get your first pair of Ray-Ban, Burberry, Coach, Polo, you name it, they got it. Go see Craig and Johnine right now. You know, he knows.
So you gave him what he wanted.
I gave him the ammo, and he knows what got under my skin. And, oh, hey, welcome back to the show. I knew we were back the whole time. Welcome back to the show. Coming to you live from the Flipping Made Easy studio in Matawan, New Jersey. Sturch and Gooch on the Chop Sports Daily. Happy 1 year to there's like the LeBron is called The Decision. We'll call this The Conversation. The conversation that started it all happened 1 year ago today, and here we are in our luxurious suite. No thanks to Jimmy Palumbo. But anyway, let's get into the rest of the NFL slate. I'm bringing up Sunday Night Football, which is absolutely nuts. The Saints get themselves a win, but the bigger story here is what happened to Tom Brady. And shout out to my fantasy team because the fantasy guys are shining down on me yesterday. I was going against Tom Brady, and I'm like, great. They threw the first 10 plays of there was no rushing attempts at all. I'm like, great. Brady's going to get into one of these anger modes and just dice me up, right? And it just didn't happen. It's a very shocking turn of events with Tom Brady. especially at home.
Yeah. I lost money on Tom Brady at home for the first time this year. It's definitely shocking, but then when you look back at it, Tom Brady is now 0-4 as a Buccaneer against the Saints in the regular season, and they've been outscored by a combined 66 points or something crazy. So Tom Brady's going through it when it comes to playing against the Saints, whether they have Trevor Siemian or Drew Brees or whoever the fuck was playing quarterback for them last year. I guess Taysom Hill in one of those games.
Taysom Hill is not a good quarterback.
Yeah, he's not.
He is bad news bears.
When you score 9 points against Tampa Bay, you would imagine that you're going to lose by 30.
Right. 100%. I mean, that's when you look at the box score today and you see 9, you're thinking, oh, they lost 30-9. Like, no, they shut out. And there's got to be something to this defense that the Saints have out there. I think his name is Greg Allen, if I'm not mistaken, the defensive coordinator. He's stopped a lot of offenses. He stopped Dallas. And this is a testament to Dallas. Dallas went into New Orleans and beat the Saints, and now the Saints going into Tampa and beating them. So it's the Saints all of a sudden, had they not gotten off to the rocky up and down start with Jameis Winston, they'd probably be in a position to be in the wild card conversation.
I don't think so, because they lost 5 straight as soon as Jameis Winston went down, and that was pretty much it.
Well, that's what I said. I'm saying, like, you lost Jameis Winston, and, like, that's it.
Yeah,
if they were
I thought you were saying, like, if Jameis would have had them going well early before he got hurt.
Look at their opening day game. They were the Packers. People are like, oh, these guys might be good.
They were 3-3. I think that they beat up on Patriots and the Packers. That's their best wins of the year. I guess if you really look at it, the Saints have 3 real quality wins. They beat up on Green Bay, they beat up on Tampa, and they didn't beat up on Tampa, but essentially they shut them out.
Well, so no, Kyle said it here. It's in the comments now. I said on Friday, watch out for the Saints with their pass rushers back, and Brady was under duress the entire time, man. And Brady shows that he's 40 every so often, but then he shows that he's 25 every so often, so he is also now a little Jekyll and Hyde. How do you feel like this plays out the rest of the year for Tampa? What we saw last night in perfect weather conditions, your home field, you couldn't get nothing done. Nada, right? This is alarming. And now you've lost Chris Godwin for the rest of the season, which crap on my pen, because if I do get this win, I lose Godwin for the year. Mike Evans gets hurt. Fournette gets hurt. Like, there's a bunch of guys hurt now.
Yeah.
Gronkowski looks like he's 67 years old sometimes. He can only run one route, and that's that fly over the top route. And if he doesn't get there, he's winded. He gets off the field. Tampa's offense all of a sudden, and their defense isn't that great either. It's like, where do we see Tampa? Like, this could be a turning point.
I see Tampa in the mix, regardless of how it plays out. They're going to be in the playoffs, and I think they're going to make their run. Maybe they're one and done, because it just takes one in the playoffs, and then you're done, obviously. So, but when you're looking at their problems on offense, Fournette, they're saying he's going to miss extended time. I'm not sure if that's going to mean the season. They're saying he'll probably will come back for the playoffs, but Fournette's definitely going to miss some time. I don't know that that's going to crush that team, because I think Ronald Jones is a capable backup.
He is. He's just been in the dog.
Godwin being hurt is going to hurt them a lot, because they do get Antonio Brown back, but I think what makes the Bucs so special is the fact that they have 3 really, really good number 1 receivers.
Do you think they're bringing back Brown for the sole purpose of the fact that, like, oh, now we're screwed, we need him? Well, because I think they were trying to make a statement saying, like, all right, this clown did something really bad. The NFL suspended him.
Well, when they didn't cut him about 2 or 3 days after that news broke that they might look to get rid of him, I knew damn well that they weren't going to.
Very true.
And the very fact that they ever even brought Antonio Brown in was pretty telling that they're just doing things to win football games, and everything else is kind of secondary. Tom Brady's always been that way, and I'm not really against that. I think that's kind of how you should be to a degree. Antonio Brown has fallen in line. Other than this, since he's been to Tampa, there really hasn't been an issue. And even this seemingly got brushed under the rug faster than you would imagine it would, considering the lightning bolt that Antonio Brown has been and the lightning bolt that COVID has been. But yeah. I don't think that the Bucs are done. I do think that there's issues with the rest of the league now that Tom Brady is memed up again, throwing a tablet and breaking it, because you're going to end up seeing how you saw those memes where Tom Brady was looking down with the score 28-3, and it's like the SpongeBob, like 15 minutes later, and then it's Tom Brady hoisting the Super Bowl trophy.
Right.
You're going to see Tom Brady throwing now I'm not going to predict this as a reality, because I do think Green Bay's winning the Super Bowl, but tell me that you can't envision this moment where it's like Tom Brady getting shut out at home on national TV, throws the tablet, loses all his offensive players, and then 2 months later, Tom Brady's hoisting the Super Bowl trophy because people doubted him, and he had that game where he was embarrassed on national TV. And then
embarrassed me on national TV. That's exactly what happened. And then the Reaper Roper just destroys you.
Like, they were in a better position this year. They're in a better position this year, even with this loss going into the final 3 weeks of the season, than they were in last year. So it's obviously not all lost in Tampa Bay.
Yeah. Look, I'm not going to harp on this guy, but Jimmy says, he came in the chat, said Dave only gets angry when you bash the Cowboys. No, Jimmy. That's not why I get angry. I get angry when stupid fans, fair weather fans, start talking like they actually know what they're talking about when you don't. You are not. You are very clueless when it comes to the NFL. It shows when you call them Micah, and it shows when you call them Saquon. You are clueless, Jimmy. You are clueless in the NFL. Stick to college, bro. Thank you. Period. Stop.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like we could say that because he's always bashing us about our lack of knowledge in college football.
He has no knowledge in the NFL. His stinks crew is just the teams that are not in the playoffs right now.
And honestly, some of them, he said that the Packers stink. They're 11-3,
right?
Or 12, exactly. Whatever the fuck they are. Number one seed.
Clueless. Anyway, moving on to the next game. It had some very, very big implications. The Tennessee Titans went to the Pittsburgh Steelers here, 19-13. The Steelers, who I literally killed off last week or 2 weeks ago in the playoff conversation, which I still think they're going to have a little bit of a problem because they're not going to be able to get to that 10th win. The best they can finish right now is 9. No, I'm wrong. They can get to 10-6-1, but they got to win out, and that's not going to be an easy feat. And I think that's going to be the reason why the Steelers still miss the playoffs. Do I want to see the Steelers in the playoffs? Yeah, fine. I like the Steelers to get to the playoffs, but I just don't see it. I'll stick to my guns and say they're not a playoff team. But the Titans now, on their, in their own world, they're kind of screwing things up because right now, with 3 games to go, they find themselves 1 game up on the Colts. And I know that I think you're the one who said that division's dead because they beat them twice.
I'm not going to say it's dead, but I don't think the Titans are going to lose out, and that's what has to happen. Colts have to win out, and the Titans have to lose out because the Titans beat the Colts twice, so they own that tiebreaker. Okay. And I think it still is 2 games, or is it 1 game?
Yeah, I don't know. But in any event, the Steelers are in a better situation than they were a week ago. You know what I mean? So 7-6-1. They're still alive, still in the hunt. We'll see what they do. I'm more concerned about the Titans. I really am. And I think that not having that solidified running game that they used to be able to really, really rely on with Derrick Henry is no longer there. Now I'm wondering, is he coming back? Because there was reports about him coming back soon, so he's not gone and lost for the year. So if they could just weather this storm, the Titans will still be a force to be reckoned with if they get Derrick Henry back. But I just don't think that the Titans have what it takes. Ryan Tannehill's been playing like shit, and they put up 13 points against the Steelers, who, even though they don't have Derrick Henry, the Steelers have been so bad against the run, and the Titans couldn't get anything going offensively. They really had no business losing that game with how poorly the Steelers played in the first half, but you got to tip your cap to Big Ben in the second half this season. He's been really playing well. And if you look at the efficiency that he doesn't turn the ball over. I know Big Ben's done. And if you watch Kyle's video yesterday, it's kind of, I was all over Pittsburgh this week anyway, but it was nice to see Kyle co-sign it. And Big Ben is done, but he's playing really well in the fourth quarter of games this year. And Ken Paulman brings up a good point.
You can't overlook that.
The Steelers don't play the Eagles, the Skins, and the Giants twice a year. That's true. You are a product of your division, and your division is really good at football this year. So that's a shame for the AFC North. It's good for the AFC North as far as from a fan standpoint, from an outside, that race is great. But yeah, when your team can't run the football, and they also can't really throw the football, you're kind of skating by. You're trying to get by here. I think the Steelers are, but that's why at the end of the day, they're not the Ravens, and they're not even the Browns, and I don't even think they're the Bengals. You know what I mean? So that's why I think they'll probably finish 3rd or 4th, and not saying that they're a bad football team. I just don't think they're able to run.
I don't know that any of the teams other than the Bengals are in the playoff picture right now for the AFC. They're all in the mix, but I think that the Ravens are out. We're not going to talk too much about it, but I think the Ravens and the Browns are the first 2 teams on the outside looking in, and then maybe with a Pittsburgh right after them. So it's they're 8, 9, and 10 right now, with all 3 of them have a chance to get in. We'll see how this plays out.
Interesting. We'll get into that. Quick breeze by game here. The 49ers, again, continue their dominance. They run the football well. Jimmy G manages the football game well.
This is my bet of the week.
Yeah, this was something I had locked in too. We both picked the 49ers, by the way. If anybody's keeping, paying attention at home, the standings have shifted a little bit more in favor of Gooch right now with 4 games to go in this week. He went 7-4 here. I don't know what he did with his bets. Sometimes he fades himself. Sometimes he rides with, his momentum. I went 5-6, couple bad bets is what it is. I didn't put any money on any games this week. And I was disappointed that I didn't get a chance to do that. But when I'm in game mode and I'm in the parking lot, the last thing I'm doing is I wonder who I'm going to bet this week. That's just not me.
Typically, if I don't sit down and have a good 20-30 minute session of really looking into things, I fuck up. If I bet on the fly, I fuck up. So
yeah,
maybe smart to not.
But the 49ers moved to 8-6, and right now, not saying they can win this division, but all of a sudden you're in the Cardinals are starting to fold a little bit, and the Rams are very Jekyll Hyde. If the 49ers just consistently play football, they can finish 11-6 if they win out. So it'll be interesting to see what record gets the West. You know what I'm saying? Right now, the Rams are sitting there at 10-4 or 9-4. If they lose again, all of a sudden the Arizona Cardinals are sitting there with 10 wins. What if the Cardinals don't win any more games? Listen, crazy.
Yeah, there's some good football to be played out west. Definitely, that race is going to be a fun one to watch. I'm going to pick the Rams just because that's who I picked in the beginning. I
feel like they're the more likely
to win that division.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with that. I'm not going to change things up now because it's close. And all three of these teams have issues. I just think that the Rams are the most talented out of the three, and I think they're the best coached out of the three. That's what I'm giving them the nod for.
I'm with that. Moving on. First of all, and before we get totally over this game, or I got the wrong label. But as far as the whatchamacallit, Matt Ryan, man, is just like another one. This might be the last year for Matt Ryan / Big Ben. What is the point?
I don't think Matt Ryan's going to hang it up. I think Matt Ryan will go and be a quarterback, much like Joe Flacco did with Denver.
You think Matt Ryan's going to be okay holding a clipboard?
I think Matt Ryan's going to be okay with a chance to earn a nice salary while competing for a job for a team.
I find it hard. Like Joe Flacco,
for a team
was
that's
never
like a quarterback away. Tell me you couldn't see the Washington football team going after a Matt Ryan.
I could see that.
Just
considering
like
the fact they signed Fitz. For the reason they did.
Matt Ryan is definitely a capable starter in this league on the right team. And I'm not saying that the Falcons are the wrong team because, honestly, if you look at what the Falcons have done this year, they're playing above their heads, all things considered.
I'll go back to the Falcons game for a second just because I do have a question for you. They're 6-8 right now. Do you think that if, somebody like I can't think of his name, who left
Ridley.
You think if Calvin Ridley is on this team all year round, like this is a completely different conversation because you're seeing the emergence of Cordarrelle Patterson as something really special out of the backfield. He could do a lot of things, right? And even Russell Gage is okay. And Kyle Pitts, you draft this kid to be the future stud playmaker.
He's been okay.
And he's going to be okay. Do you think this maybe this record is maybe flipped? Are they like an 8-6 team? If
possibly, yes. I think Calvin Ridley was playing with a few demons this year, and it showed with his play on the field. He really wasn't himself, but the Calvin Ridley that we've known over the last 2 years, then yeah, I do think the team would be much, much better. Now, all that said, when you go into it, it's like, really, would they be? I don't know, because they do have 6 wins right now. And if they would have won yesterday, they would have taken the 49ers spot in the NFC playoffs. The Falcons would have been a playoff team. All they would have had to do was beat the team that they played yesterday in week 15. So week 15, and they were playing for essentially a playoff spot against a team like who everybody had pegged as a definite playoff team going into the year. And right now it's definitely one of those teams in the NFC where people are like, well, you got to watch out for San Fran. Now going into the game, they were 1 game apart and they were 10-point favorites. So You go figure,
AJ coming in, Basco and coming in. Matt Ryan screams.
That's the other team I was thinking when I say football team. They're the guys they're the teams that will go after. They're in a position where the roster isn't terrible, or if they just bring in a guy that could not fuck up, it could work.
A game that really nobody cares about other than the fact that there's draft pick implications. There is complications within both of these teams. The Jaguars do not play inspired football with their new interim coach. They lose 30-16 to the Texans to drop to 2-12 and officially are on the clock. If the season started today or ended today, the Jaguars would be the number 1 overall pick. Gooch, knee to your head. I don't even know why I said that. Gun to your head. Who are the Jaguars selecting? Which position of need do you think it's absolutely necessary to get for Trevor Lawrence and the new head coach, whoever that may be, come next year? You just protecting this guy, go non-sexy, go offensive lineman, or do you need a playmaker?
Honestly, I don't know enough about the top of the draft class right now for me to say, but I do know what the Jaguars team needs are, and that's offensive line. I just find it hard to take an offensive tackle in the first pick overall. It's not
a sexy thing, but it's something that they need. If they want to invest all this time.
But look, I don't want some guy unless he's the clear-cut best offensive. Like if it's Orlando Pace, take him. No question about it. But if it's just some guy that's like, oh, he might be good, but he's raw or whatever, he needs to be a product ready to go. Ready to go.
And I'm sure they're out there.
I'm sure they're out there, but is there one guaranteed out there? You take the best lineman in the draft and he's a bust. Oh, that's really bad, bro. And I mean, it's really bad to have a bust at 1 anyway, but
top 10 pick this year was Rashawn Slater, right? And you don't hear anything bad about him. So they definitely made a good pick. And I think the Jets.
Was it Penny Sewell?
Sewell too. Like you don't hear anything bad about him, which means
really good.
He's good, right?
Yeah.
Like if he was a liability, you would hear a little bit more about him. Now into a game where there was big talk about this game in particular because of the fact that there's been one guy saying and harping on this, and I was waiting for it, and Kyle stuck with it, that the Cardinals are frauds. Okay, the Cardinals lost to the Detroit Lions this past Sunday, 30-12. Not some last-second heroic field goal. They got their asses kicked. Now, is this the Cardinals team that I told you once? Let's see what he does without Hopkins even as an option. There was no game time decision.
Kyler Murray looked like
deer in headlights, bro.
I was gonna say something probably cancelable, but I'm gonna leave it at that. Yeah, he looked like a deer in headlights, just a little baby deer.
Yeah, baby deer,
like little baby deer in headlights. Kyler Murray looked like shit. His release is so bad when he's under pressure. I don't know what was going on with him, but every ball that he threw sailed 20 yards over the head of his receiver. I know he was blaming AJ Green, like the 29-year veteran who probably hasn't made a mistake on a football field in his life.
That little man right in his head.
And he was like, maybe Kyler had something to it, but you can't have a second or third year player showing up a vet like AJ Green like that. Me personally, I don't necessarily hate it, but I guarantee you AJ Green probably took exception to that. I have an issue with Kyle Kingsbury going for 2 in the situation when he did, because he pretty much took his team's chances away at that point with 8 minutes to go in the game. There was a few things where I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, they're panicking. They're panicking. They can't deal with this situation. And this team, they are going to crumble under the pressure. It just goes to show you what the NFL season does. It really does.
Fair assessment coming in from who was that? That was Ken Paulman saying that Kyler Murray looked like Dak Prescott in the last month yesterday. Fair.
Yeah. Kyler Murray looks a little bit banged up.
Yeah.
And he's already undersized. So him being banged up and having to compensate, he already has to compensate. And I know that people are looking at like, what do you mean he has to compensate? You see the way he has to throw the ball over the line of scrimmage. It's been working for his career. Like clearly he's an NFL quarterback, but when you get those hands up, he just can't, he can't throw the ball the way you want to. Like you can't be as accurate as you would like to be when you have to arc everything. He's like, his release point is here. I don't know if you guys could hear.
Yeah.
He's not like following through.
Like flicking a wrist.
It's almost like he's not flicking his wrist. It's like he has to short arm it to get it up.
Pause. But listen, I think his size works at his disadvantage at most points, and some advantages when you can be slick and move around the pocket and kind of run, and the legs literally go like this, and you're just like, how the hell are we going to catch this guy? But
Tyler Huntley.
Right, and Huntley, exactly, same, like SpiderMan meme.
And I was waiting for, I don't want to cut you off, but I was waiting for when Ken Paulman, he made a couple comments about navigating the division and the minefields, and I didn't know he was talking about, it was like, I didn't know if he was talking about you with the Cowboys or me with the Packers, because both of our divisions are pretty bad.
Shit, yes.
And I had something in the chamber, and then I saw him interject again with a comment towards you, and I was like, oh, this was definitely at Dave, because he made a comment about the Eagles, the Washington.
Yeah, no.
I thought he was making that comment to me originally, but I was going to just say, like, well, we did go 3-0 so far against your division. So our division sucks, but the Packers have quality wins anyway. Anyway, more on the Packers and Cowboys.
With that, since it's such a homer podcast, we don't know what we're talking about in any other regard other than the Cowboys and the Packers. But yeah, listen, the Cardinals are in trouble now because they're 10-4. They got the Rams breathing down the neck. The 49ers are playing good football. The pressure is on the Cardinals to hold on to this division. They went from the 1 seed to the 4 seed in 2 weeks. So that's what are you laughing at? Sometimes I can't.
It's Ken Paulman just saying, relax. I know the Vikings are good.
I mean, they're not really that good, but
I mean, they're the best under 500 team in the history of the game.
Hang that banner.
Hang the banner.
Hang
baby.
the banner. A team that nobody really can get behind at this moment. They're 3-11 right now. The New York Jets had a lead in this game. It didn't seem like they could finish it. The Dolphins are now 7-7, still in the mix. As far as the Dolphins are in the mix as much as I think the Steelers are in the mix. Like, yes, their record says they're in the hunt, but I do not think the Dolphins are a playoff team. I just don't. I just don't think they're going to get out of that in the wild card race. Sure, you can put all the graphics up you want that are in the hunt. They're in the hunt. Great. Doesn't mean anything for me. The Dolphins are no good. They for them to squeak by a New York Jets team that literally they kind of packed it in a couple weeks back. You know what I mean? For them to squeak by just goes to show you that the Dolphins are not that great. The Jets, on the other hand, Like right now, I think they're sitting at like the 2nd or 3rd pick overall or something like that behind the Jaguars.
Kyle's saying 7 straight wins for Miami. They were not 0-7, were they?
They were not 0-7.
No.
So that's false. Unless maybe he won 7 straight bets for Miami.
6 straight.
I don't even think it was 6 straight, dude.
No, I think Miami's got 6 straight. They were definitely 1-7.
I don't know, man. That's okay. I didn't think they were that bad.
100%.
My mother would have been ticked off beyond belief.
Yeah, it's definitely 6 straight.
Yeah. All right. Well, in any event, I still don't think they're a playoff team. So the fact that you struggle against the Jets, that makes you not a playoff team to me. That's just, again, my opinion there. But the Jets, as far as they're concerned, man, it's hard to grasp what the future holds for a guy like Zach Wilson and Robert Saleh. I like him. I do. I just don't know. It's not that he lost the locker room, but it's like they're not playing for him.
I need to see 25 more games out of Zach Wilson before I say, it's not going to work for him in New York.
Right.
But he's still, like I said, he's so young and he looks younger.
Yeah.
Robert Saleh, first-year head coach, coming into a situation that was bad. You got to give the Jets some time. That's it. We can move on off this game.
Nick Shine coming in.
6 by Tua at the end of the game was very telling to me as to what I think of the Miami Dolphins' chances this season.
Right. The Jets are the 4th seed. I mean, the 4th pick right now and 8th, depending on what Seattle does tonight, considering we have games to be played tonight. So, we have one more, actually. I forgot about this. And this is actually a big one in regards to their future, and that's the Buffalo Bills. They win 31-14. They get right. They put it to a good defense. If the Panthers have anything to show for this season, it's their defense is okay. But again, once again, the Panthers offense, abysmal. They just can't get it going. The Bills, on this other hand, are they need to get back to playing their style of football because they got that big main event next week to determine the winner of that AFC East. I really, truly believe the winner of next week's game wins the East somehow, some way. That'll be the tipping point.
I have to look because obviously the Patriots they're on a nice run. So if you look at the optics of like the tiebreakers and things like that, right now the Patriots have the win over Buffalo. If the Buffalo Bills could win, then they even things out, but it still doesn't do anything for me as far as tiebreakers. Like until we know that, we have to look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shine coming in saying they're playing really hard. We don't have the talent. Bad assessment. I'll take that. That's fine. I don't study the Jets as if they're my squad. But Zach Wilson showing he has nothing to work with. He really doesn't on the outside. There was one other comment that I saw. Oh, this was the better one. At least Robert Saleh does not have a foot fetish. I mean, that's really
we don't know
this
that.
Is true. He
has
not released anything like that. He could have some other fetish.
We don't know if you have a foot fetish or not, for that matter.
That's
Ken,
very true.
You might have this hidden foot fetish.
Oh boy. Anyway,
not that there's anything wrong.
No, there's nothing wrong with any kind of anything like that. I will not discriminate at all.
And I agree. The Buffalo's lack of a running game is going to kill them because if there's one path to victory against the Patriots, and we saw it the other night, and that is running the football. So Buffalo needs to figure that out. I don't think that they have an identity right now in offense.
They don't.
And I know Josh Allen's their identity. That's about it.
Yeah. All right. We got stop fetish shaming. Who said that? There was somebody who said Scoopaloop, stop fetish shaming. Yeah, he's a freak. What else? There was something else. Yo, hot take here coming from Kyle. Cam Newton can't play quarterback in the NFL. That is not a hot take at all. That is actually what Jimmy likes to call facts, bro.
I'm going to get a T-shirt made for Kyle for Christmas, and it's just going to say Fade Cam.
I'm with it. We can make it right here. Chops.
Honestly, Kyle, I hope that you get that made and put that and give me a shout out on your video because it's a great show, a great shirt for any time that you're going to do a Panthers video.
I agree. 2 more games that we played tonight on tonight's slate, and then we got 2 more to talk about tomorrow. So tomorrow's show actually turned out to be loaded, considering there's going to be 2 NFL games to talk about what just happened, and then obviously preview 2 more. But we'll start with the Browns, and we'll make our picks. We're going to remake our picks. We picked these games on Friday. The lines moved a bunch. There's different guys coming back on COVID protocols. There's guys going out on COVID protocols. We're re-picking these games as far as me and Gooch are concerned. The Browns, 7-6, hosting the Las Vegas Raiders. The spread is 3. The Browns are favored. Gooch, where are you going with this? You're up 2 games on me. I'm making you pick first.
Cleveland, because they could run the football effectively. I know Kareem Hunt's out. I think I said this the other day, whereas I think Baker is a worse passer than, who's it, Case Keenum? I think Case Keenum gives a better chance throwing the football than Baker Mayfield did. And that might maybe
is Baker still out?
Maybe Baker isn't out.
Considering maybe I should favored.
Am I going to fade Baker?
I don't know, but
no,
maybe
I'm not. It's going to be the running game anyway. They're not going to be throwing the ball much. The Browns' MO is going to be run the football. Baker's banged up as it is. So
I'll stick with the I'm going to pick the Browns as well, but the reason being is I'm going with more than likely the defensive player of the year. And while I think
Baker is out.
Okay, Baker's out.
Even better for
-3, which is crazy to me. But the reason why, and this is why I'm going to say this right now, if it's not Micah Parsons, which I guess probably won't happen, Myles Garrett is the defensive player of the year. He wrecks games himself. Him and TJ Watt are like neck and neck right now. But I would say that because of the Browns defense and the inability for the Raiders to do anything offensively, that's what gets this game done. Low scoring, take the under. Well, maybe not. 42 is kind of low. But I would take the Browns here.
It's not Case Keenum. It's Big Dick Nick
Mullins. And they're still favored.
Bro, he's a legend.
He is a legend.
And we talked about his big win against. Why am I so? I mean, I know why. I don't have a memory, but it's like probably multiple concussions and a lot of weed.
Yes, well, it comes from the earth. And then rounding out tonight, we do have the Minnesota Vikings going on the road to Chicago to take on the Bears.
And no, I do not trust the Raiders anymore. I've won a lot of money off them early.
They won on Thanksgiving, and then it was just
ship sailed.
This is what happens when you beat the Cowboys on Thanksgiving and ruin everybody's holidays. You get smithed. It's over. It's done.
I'm 2 for 2 on stopping myself from making terrible jokes.
I'm glad. This is called self-control, and you don't want to get released. And our YouTube is growing, and our live viewership is consistently getting better and better. So you don't want to cancel yourself. The only person that's going to cancel themselves tonight is Kirk Cousins, because I got the Bears winning tonight. The reason why Justin Fields, the most accurate quarterback in college football history, is going to win this game tonight. You gave me 6.5 at home, and Soldier Field's going to be 19 degrees tonight, bro. Literally 19 degrees. Give me the Bears all day long. I love the Bears in this game. I love Coach Nagy. No, I don't. But I do like the Bears to win this game, because I think the Vikings, you're talking about the Cardinals being frauds. The Vikings are the biggest frauds in the game. Cooper Rush handed you your ass. The Vikings are not going to win this game. The Bears will win it. They'll mark it down, bookmark it. We'll release it on our Instagram later. The Bears will win tonight.
Yeah,
Soldier Field.
I'm moneylining the Bears in this one for sure. Justin Fields is probably the best quarterback that I've ever seen play. A little bit better than Tyler Huntley. Tyler Huntley is 1-1A with Justin Fields and Tyler Huntley.
Yeah.
But no, I'm taking the Bears because I think that the Vikings are frauds. Kirk Cousins hasn't won back-to-back primetime games yet in his career. I don't look for that to start happening now.
What is that star? Do you see that?
Oh, I did that. I liked it because I didn't want to bring the comment up because he made the joke for me that I didn't make.
Oh, okay.
So I was just letting him know that I see you, Ken, but I'm still not making the joke.
I should see how that could go. I'm still not. I was
talking about the Raiders season and my trust in them, and I said,
"Oh God!"
But that ship sailed, and then I was like, and then I just stopped talking.
Awful.
And then
Sorry. Christmas, guys, come on, stop it. So anyway, we're both on the Bears tonight to get the job done in Chicago. That's going to round out Monday Night Football at the very least. And then you got Tuesday football coming up tomorrow. We'll preview those games tomorrow night. We'll talk about these, but another. As Keith Ernst loves when I say banger of a show. It was a great show today. Obviously, we covered a lot of the NFL. Playoffs are getting heated up. The chat is getting heated up every day. I want to publicly apologize to Jimmy on the air right now. He probably already tuned out because he's like, F this guy, I'm done with him. I don't want to get mad at you, Jimmy. I love you, man. I really do. But
no,
it's like,
I think that it's okay to be mad. It's not, but it's for good TV. I think
that
maybe for you, because I don't know the internal feeling you had, and I did see it in your face. Like you were definitely like ready to go at that moment. You were triggered. Right. You can't let people get to you that are trying to get to you. That is the biggest flex in the world.
And you're good at that. You're good. You're personally good at not letting people get to you under your skin because you're just like, whatever, and like you can let it brush.
I know that when people are trying to get to me,
I'm passionate.
It doesn't work.
I'm passionate about my Dallas Cowboys. I am, but there isn't. And I'll tell you this straight up. If you listen to my podcast, if you watch me on Twitter, if you do everything you do to listen to what I have to say about the Cowboys, I am real. I am real.
Back.
Oh, Jimmy's back. And the Knicks stink. You were pissed, overreacted. Yes, I did.
That was his accepting of your apology. You apologized. You were pissed and overreacted.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. We're good. No,
but him saying like the Cowboys stink and it's like if the Cowboys stink and the Packers stink, and is it the Cowboys and the Packers
with
show?
a total record
I can promise you
21 and 7.
I can promise you if the Packers were 4 and whatever right now, I wouldn't be talking about them at all. I might not even be here, honestly. So am I a homer? Of course I'm a homer. I try to be arbitrary in some cases, but I'm still a fucking Packer fan.
Does anybody watch NFL Network when the whole whole panel of
Bro,
professionals.
James Jones hasn't picked the Packers to go 17-0 2 years in a row.
But I'm saying, like, look at Michael Irvin. Like, when you go to talk about it, he's up there. He's rah-rah. He's literally stomping on the
I
desk.
can see if we're calling the game. We're not calling the game. I'm a fan. Look, the Packers are dominating right now. You could say that they're playing bad. I don't give a shit. We went on the road and beat a good team. I don't care. That's it. We won.
Coming in, this is just kind of weird. All right, this is going to be one of those moments where I don't get too emotional. But John, I'm talking about John's birthday earlier, and his nickname was JD. And this guy, I don't know who this is, but JD just said, "How about them Cowboys, bro?" I know you're watching.
Jay Devlin.
I don't
it
care.
has to be.
I don't care, but that's really cool. That for me. That's cool. And if it is Devlin, great. I thought Jake from State Farm was going to blow my cover. No, it's definitely not. But whoever that is, it's great. But yeah, with that being said, it's been another great episode of the Chop Sports Daily. We'll talk a little bit more. We'll get into the basketball tomorrow. We got the Knicks. I mean, there's games being canceled left and right. So, and Kyrie, we didn't even touch on Kyrie being a part-time player, which is, again, bullshit. And all of a sudden he enters the protocols, which is like poetic to me. Like, oh, I'm only playing halfway.
I'm actually happy for Kyrie in this sense. I'm not a Nets fan and I'm not a Kyrie fan, but I do think that he won the staring contest with the Nets, particularly. I don't think that the league is going to buckle, but he won the staring contest with the Nets, and the Nets were saying, look, we can't have this, and we're not going to talk too much about it because we will tomorrow.
Yeah.
But good for Kyrie winning the stare off with the Nets. They need him.
Jimmy Palumbo. Chop Sports is only around because the Packers and the Cowboys are good. That may well be the case. Actually, you know what, though? The conversation in December of 2020, the Cowboys were like 4-11 at the time. So I had all aspirations.
At that point, no, that was like you were looking for something to cling to. So it was like anything. You would have been like grasping at straws.
God, I got to talk about something.
I need some purpose.
The Cowboys.
Thank God my dad bets now. He's gained he has such a purpose. Like I'm happy for him because he's actually doing really good. And
does he ride the sauce a lot?
He gets advice from me.
Is he a VIP member?
Well, he's by default a VIP member because
through you. Okay.
Because like I obviously share information with my father, but my dad's a good bettor, man. Like he's always been like the top of the leaders in football pools, and he doesn't even have to watch football. He'll be like, "Oh, Cleveland sucks," and it's like typically they always suck. So he's right about that. But yeah,
see, Jimmy does make me laugh because of the Giants. I have to start a network. That's great.
That's good.
That is good. So anyway, with that being said, for Sturch and Gooch, thank you guys for watching. Do me a favor. As soon as this video is over, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. Follow us on YouTube. That's how you join the conversation so fast, like these guys do. I find it hard-pressed to know if anybody actually watched on Facebook today. I'm going to have to go.
Well,
check.
I know that I think the New York cop, was it Shrieks?
No, Payne. He came in from YouTube. He transformed.
But that's my point. It's like, I feel like he was one of the last ones to make the transition.
I said nobody saw this.
Yeah.
I said nobody saw this because you have to go on YouTube.
Come on, bro.
Like, go eat shit. And I'm like,
yeah,
okay.
No, eat shit in the YouTube comments though.
Thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow on I guess it's going to be a football Tuesday here at Chop Sports. See you then.
Go Pack, go, baby. Who's up at the top? When you walked in here, were you able to change the?
Do you understand?
When you're watching the game, that's like your main reason.
It's so funny you say that because when I'm watching the Packers game and
that's what you're thinking.
They might lose. I was like, I'm going to get to come in here, Chop Studios, and put them next to each other because they're both the top. And by tie breaking, from what I've heard, the Cowboys would be above them if they were the same record right now because of strength of schedule, conference record, all that good shit.
It's not. Can I tell you what it is? It's definitely not strength of schedule because we both know that that's not what it is.
Somebody said that if they were tied, they would be first.
It's record against common opponents.
The longest soft close.
Record against common opponents,
which we got over you
for now.
Done.